Big day here. This horizontal drill program is going to be very important to us.
Yeah.
Just when we thought Oak Island couldn't get any more mysterious, new insider leaks have surfaced. And what they reveal about Season 13 may change everything we thought we knew about the island's darkest secrets. From undisclosed discoveries to hidden conflicts behind the scenes, these devastating new details were never meant to be public. If true, these revelations could reshape the hunt for history and shake the entire Oak Island community. So grab your gear, treasure hunters, because what you're about to hear is explosive. Behind the scenes, whispers have turned into full-blown shockwaves. These leaks hint at a discovery so unexpected, it reportedly caused chaos among the crew. Hidden dig sites, sudden shutdowns, and a mysterious artifact that insiders claim could rewrite the entire Oak Island timeline. Season 13 might be the most dramatic chapter yet. Tonight, we break down what was leaked and why the production team didn't want you to see it. And before we dive deeper, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next reveal. A picture worth billions. The thing nobody tells you is that this was not some faint anomaly or a glitch in the software. It was a crystal-clear image. The image that came back was not of a loose object, a rock, or a wooden barrier. It was a perfectly rectangular man-made chamber. Believe it or not, the dimensions are said to be roughly 10 feet wide by 15 feet long, located at a staggering depth of over 140 feet. That is like burying a secret room underneath a 14-story building, and the sheer engineering required to build something like that centuries ago without modern equipment is, to put it mildly, just mind-boggling.
I really would like to see what's at the bottom of that shaft.
So the hope is that once we get down 50, 60 feet, we'll be able to drill horizontally, vertically.
Yep.
We are talking about an operation that would have required hundreds of workers, years of secret labor, and a level of planning that defies all historical precedent. But here is the catch. The pressure at that depth is over 60 pounds per square inch, which is enough to crush a conventional wooden structure in months, let alone centuries. Yet this room is standing tall. For decades, everyone has been focused on the supposed money pit, a chaotic, collapsed mess of mud and timber. And it is almost funny when you think about it. While countless searchers went broke chasing a ghost in one spot, this pristine structure was sitting just a stone's throw away, completely undisturbed. Here is the kicker, though. The sonar did not just show an empty room. The scans, according to the leak, revealed at least 3 large, dense rectangular objects sitting on the floor of the chamber. The density readings are reportedly off the charts, consistent with heavy chests. These could be filled with metal, gold, silver, or something else entirely. Each object is estimated to be about 4 feet long and 2 feet wide, the classic size and shape of a treasure chest from legend. So, here is the deal. If this leak is real, the team is not just looking for loose coins anymore. They are looking at a vault that has been waiting for them for hundreds of years.
I believed in Oak Island since I was a little boy. As a little boy, I dreamt of treasure and hidden wealth and booby traps and underground tunnels. Wow.
But the big question is, how is it still standing? The answer lies in the walls themselves. What lines the walls changes history forever. A tomb for emperors. The sonar picked up a thin metallic coating covering the entire inside of the chamber, a strange layer of metal that seems to be the very reason this place has stayed intact for so long. It's been perfectly protected from the crushing pressure and acidic water that has wiped out everything else in the money pit. This thing is basically a Faraday cage built to defy time itself. The team even took core samples from the surrounding ground and found trace amounts of this odd alloy mixed in the soil, backing up that it's really there. This isn't just a treasure vault, it's a preserved time capsule. But what most people never realize is that this metallic shell doesn't just keep the chamber intact, it completely blows apart the accepted Oak Island timeline. Hold on tight, because this is where everything goes off the rails. The early analysis of those metal traces came back with a result nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, was ready for. The lining of the hidden chamber appears to be made of a lead-silver alloy. Now, that might not sound dramatic to most people, but for historians, that's a full-blown 5-alarm emergency. That very specific alloy, with its rare isotopic fingerprint, was a signature of advanced Roman engineering. They used it to line aqueducts, secure important documents, reinforce protective casings, and, most significantly, seal the tombs and sarcophagi of high-ranking officials and emperors so their remains would endure forever. It was wildly expensive and extremely hard to create, a sign of enormous wealth and influence. To really understand that, you have to remember that producing this alloy required smelting methods that vanished over time and weren't rediscovered in Europe until the late Middle Ages. And suddenly, this discovery reframes some of the weirdest finds on the island. Think back to the Roman pilum, that javelin head uncovered seasons ago, or the coin some experts dated to the Roman Empire. At the time, critics brushed them off as random objects dropped by a collector, or pieces of a later, mixed-up treasure stash. Sure, people obsessed over those theories, but they always lived out on the fringes. But a massive underground chamber lined with a confirmed Roman alloy? That changes the entire game. It suggests those earlier finds weren't flukes. They were clues. This points to a deliberate, highly organized operation on Oak Island carried out by people who knew Roman-era technology, over 1,000 years before Columbus ever set foot on a ship. The implications are beyond staggering. How could this even happen? According to mainstream history, it's impossible for Romans, or anyone with their level of technological sophistication, to have reached North America. Every textbook repeats that claim, yet the evidence is starting to pile up. This wasn't a couple of lost sailors drifting onto the shore. This was a large-scale construction effort demanding long-term planning, serious manpower, and advanced logistics. One theory circulating around the set right now suggests that a secretive group, possibly the early predecessors of the Knights Templar, inherited ancient Roman knowledge and artifacts, carrying forward the lost brilliance of the empire. And honestly, this idea is not as outrageous as it sounds. After Rome fell, much of its highest-level engineering and scientific understanding was safeguarded within hidden religious and military orders. It's entirely possible they used this forgotten technology to build the ultimate hiding place on a remote island, far from the turmoil tearing Europe apart. The Lagina brothers might not have uncovered a simple pirate stash at all. They may have stumbled onto proof that the entire accepted timeline of North American history is fundamentally wrong. But the true twist lies in the placement of the chamber, the so-called Templar trap. Here's the thing about the Knights Templar. They were absolute masters of banking, logistics, and especially deception. They guarded their secrets with complex symbols, layered codes, and meticulously crafted misdirection. What if the money pit itself was the grandest misdirection ever constructed? According to the latest leaks, this newly revealed Roman-style chamber is not in the original money pit location at all. Instead, it's buried a significant distance away, positioned precisely along a hidden geometric point within the layout of Nolan's Cross. It's not the center, but an outer marker, a location you'd only consider if you understood the full hidden pattern. This discovery has sparked a bold new theory on set. The chamber might not be the final treasure vault. It might be a decoy, a ceremonial antechamber, or even a sacred tomb. The intricate flood tunnels and elaborate traps suddenly make more sense if they weren't guarding simple gold, something replaceable, but something holy and irreplaceable. Think about it. The Templars were rumored to hold legendary Christian relics, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, or even documents revealing the true origins of early Christianity. These are not objects you toss into a muddy pit. You would store them with reverence in a sanctified chamber built using the most advanced ancient knowledge at your disposal. This Roman-engineered vault fits that purpose perfectly. What lies inside may not be treasure chests of coins, but sacred reliquaries, containers meant to protect relics of unimaginable significance. The real treasure of Oak Island may not be wealth at all, but spiritual and historical artifacts that could rewrite everything we believe. This ties directly into the Season 12 clues, pointing toward the Knights of Malta, the successors to the Templars. With this newly discovered chamber, the entire puzzle is starting to lock into place. The island is the mechanism, Nolan's cross is the key, and the chamber is only the first tumbler that must click before the true vault can be opened. The money pit itself may have been a deliberate sacrifice, a collapsing decoy crafted to mislead treasure hunters for centuries, while the real chamber was left untouched, perfectly preserved a short distance away. This level of planning is almost impossible to wrap your mind around. A scheme set into motion hundreds of years ago, only now being revealed. And the strangest, most shocking part of all? It worked. For more than 200 years, searchers dug endlessly in the wrong spot. People lost their lives in the flood tunnels. Companies fell apart chasing shadows in the mud. And the entire time, the lead-silver vault sat quietly in the darkness, sealed, intact, and undisturbed. If this chamber is only a decoy, or the first step in a long-hidden sequence, then what does that mean for the final stage of the search? It means the team needs backup, and the biggest source of help is coming from the internet. This is crowdsourced history at full power. But here's something the show will never say outright. The Fellowship isn't just the small group you see on camera. For more than 10 years, a massive, unseen force has been working behind the scenes. An unofficial 8th member of the team, the fans, and the ideas they've thrown into the mix, once brushed off as wild speculation, are now starting to look eerily accurate. For every shovel of dirt removed on the island, there are thousands of digital sleuths grinding away in the online war room. Reddit threads, message boards, and deep-dive forums are dissecting every second of footage. These people aren't just watching the show. They're participating in the investigation. And unbelievably, these armchair experts are using tools that rival what the on-island team has. They're digging through satellite imagery and LiDAR data to spot geometric shapes you'd never see from the ground. They're overlaying Zena Halpern's ancient maps onto modern scans with surgical precision. They're combing through old shipping manifests and Templar banking records with a level of obsession that would make a historian break out in a cold sweat. Think back to the French line theory that linked Nolan's cross to distant landmarks in Europe. That did not originate with Marty and Rick. It was forged in the heat of late-night debates among fans. And here's the kicker. The fan theory that the swamp held the true treasure, the theory that triggered some of the team's biggest discoveries, was dominating online communities long before the show launched its full-scale dig there. These aren't casual viewers. They're a global intelligence network collectively solving the world's most perplexing treasure mystery. But here's the part nobody expects. The real secret isn't the fan discoveries. It's who pays attention to them. A source close to production has hinted that the show's research team actively monitors these communities. Sit with that for a moment. The next major eureka moment you see in the war room might have originated from a post written by a history nerd in Ohio or a geometry whiz in Australia. And that leak about a Roman-style chamber, those whispers based on obscure Templar writings, have existed in deep corners of fan forums for years. The show presents the search as a straight, step-by-step journey led by the team. But the truth is much more intricate. It's a feedback loop. The team uncovers a clue. The fans tear it apart, generate a dozen new theories, and the most convincing ideas quietly influence the team's research, steering the search. The fellowship you see might be doing the digging, but the blueprint is increasingly shaped by an invisible army. This hidden collaboration completely changes how every discovery looks, past, present, and future. It means that when the team finally breaks through that lead silver barrier, the victory won't belong only to the people on Oak Island. It will belong to everyone who ever sat on their couch with a notepad, trying to make sense of the clues. But getting into the chamber will be perilous. It marks the endgame. So, what does all of this mean for Season 13? It means everything. The entire season will pivot toward one objective: excavating and physically reaching this chamber. The honeycomb drilling, the dye tests, the endless scanning, all of it was building to this single moment. This will be the most costly, technically demanding, and dangerous operation the team has ever embarked on. They know exactly where the chamber is located, they know the depth, and they have a strong sense of what might be inside. But here's the problem. Digging down 140 feet through unstable, water-soaked ground is an engineering nightmare. If they simply try to dig, the shaft will collapse or flood instantly. They will need enormous caissons, possibly even ground-freezing technology, to turn the mud into solid ice so they can carve their way down safely. The tension won't come from searching anymore. It will come from the struggle to recover whatever has been waiting there for centuries. Now, it's completely understandable to be skeptical. After 12 seasons and so many disappointments, plenty of people have thrown in the towel. You see the comments everywhere. They're never going to find anything. Or, it's all just TV drama. And honestly, that frustration makes sense. But take a moment and look at what's happening. For years, the #1 demand has been, show us something real, not another random chunk of wood. Well, if these leaks hold any truth, this is exactly that. A man-made, metal-lined chamber from a time period that shouldn't exist on this continent at all. This is the moment that rewrites the entire story. People tune in for a mystery, and for a long time the big question was whether anything was even down there in the first place. Now the question has flipped. Not if something is there, but what it is and who put it there. Is this Roman-style chamber the final answer we've all been waiting for, or just another decoy in the hardest puzzle on Earth? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this update, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next big reveal.